Aloha, how you doing? It's Gordo, the tech czar here. Welcome to Hibachi Talk. As you can tell, Andrew, the security guy, is MIA. He's not here today. He's off on the mainland being educated, so he's not going to be seeing us today. But please, grab a chair, grab a towel, pull up and have yourself a libation. We'll sit down here for 45 minutes Hibachi Talk. We got some of the same old stuff going on and a few other things we're going to add in. Great guest today, Randy Martin. Randy Martin is the president of Paradise Canyon Systems. He's going to talk about what they do here. What I find fascinating about his particular, his company is it's the reverse of what we typically see in Hawaii, where he's a locally based company that does a lot of work for mainland firms. And as a matter of fact, I think all of his work is for mainland firms. Normally, where I always get upset, as you know, is when these people come in from the mainland supposedly doing better than what we can do. But this is, as we know, it's not the case. So we got that happening and a few other things. It's going to be strange for me because I could talk to myself, but then you're really going to know I'm off it. Alana that we had last week, she could have probably helped me out on this one. Anyway, we got some good stuff going on. I think maybe what we'll do is we'll start with Got One Tech Job, which is one of our regular segments. So we got Zuri, we got to throw up one of these ones that was a pretty fascinating shot that got sent to me of Got One Tech Job. How's this one? So how'd you like to be the conductor or the guy that drives this train? So anyway, I think it was taken from a segment, the new rail project that they're going to be building here, or that they are building here in Hawaii. So there's a big concern that there might not be enough seats on the trains. So there's two arguments now with the trains. One is that there's no one going to be riding it, and the other argument is there's not enough seats. So I don't know how we're going to deal with that. But anyway, Got One Tech Job, and I can just imagine if our trains are going to be looking like that. So that's our segment on No Tech Job today. Now, we got a bunch of security stuff, some interesting things happening, but I do want to talk about a little shout out to Hamish. Hamish has been under the weather. Hamish McGullible, one of our followers, he's been not feeling that well, but he's hanging in there. I keep in touch with him on a regular basis, so you get better, bud, because we need to have you harassing Angus some more. The other thing is, remember Hawala Greavy we had on the show, about a year ago. Yeah, we're starting our new year as well. But anyway, he was on a year ago, and he was written up in Huffington Post yesterday on a B2B session. Was mentioned at his Powerbox product suite. So, and GJB and Associates, that's my company. We're the exclusive. Oh, look at Hibachi Talk just fell down. GJB and Associates, we're the guys that represent that product in Hawaii. So. Very cool. This is not going to stand. It's down for the count. Anyway, so he got written up. That's going to as one of the top up-and-coming companies in the country. So way to go, Hawala. Be successful, and when you're a millionaire and millions of millionaires, just remember where you started. So that's happening that side. So the other piece is we'll do a little bit of security and talk about what's happening on that side. So one of the things that's interesting, and it was in yesterday's paper, the Hyatt. The Hyatt has uncovered a hack of their affected customer payment system. Credit cards, credit card numbers, the CSV number on the back, all of that has been hacked in a number of their hotels. Interesting to say that if you have stayed in a Hyatt in the past year, there's a high probability that your credit card was hacked. Over 250 hotels were hit. And strange as that may seem, on Monday, I got a call from my credit card company. Mine had been hacked. So, and I was going back trying to think if I'd stayed at any of the Hyatts over the course of that period of time. I could not say that I did for sure, but you just never know. Anyway, so that one got nailed. They got at the Starwood hotels, Trump hotels, the Mandarin Oriental, and so on. So I would encourage you, when you get your credit card bill, start looking for those transactions. In my case, I saw one that was a very small transaction that didn't make sense to me, and I challenged it, and that kind of opened up the door to finding out more that was going on with that particular hack. And the credit card companies, for the most part, are good at jumping on it and getting you a new card and such. But then you have to go in and change all of those automatic payments and all that stuff, and what a glorious pain that is. So that's happening on that side. On the other side is the crypto locker, and I've talked about this in the past. That's the crypto locker virus is starting to come out again. It's starting to show up more, and that's the one that comes in and actually takes over your machine, and then you have to pay a fine for them to unlock it for you. So please watch for that. Most of it's coming in on a zip file. Most of it's coming in on which looks like a legitimate UPS site. So if you haven't ordered something on UPS and you get a notice about tracking your parcel, do not open that particular email because there's a high probability it's a crypto locker. Now, what you do need to do, the moment that happens, you unplug your machine and shut it down. And do not go online until you can get someone in there that knows what they're doing to get that all cleaned up. Companies that I have worked with in the past have actually had to go in and pay the ransom so that they could get other clients back up and running. So watch for that. It's usually in a zip file. Don't open it. If you've been hit, unplug the power right away. You're going to make sure your backups are in good shape. Don't start, messing and bringing them in because they too could get hacked as well. The other thing is you're going to have to clean and scan and wipe your PC. There's just and possibly your servers. There is just no way around it. So it's a big one. Watch for it, and it is gnarly. So that's the things I'm going to give you the heads up on the what's happening in the area of security. So Andrew, hopefully I did a pretty good job compared to what you do, but let's cover stuff that I know. So the other thing I'm going to talk about, we do news, and I always try to find news that's a little bit different. You don't get in the mainstream and so on. So football season is kind of wrapping up. Everything's happening. There's been a lot of discussion about concussions and things like that. So interesting, there's a Seattle startup company who are getting a lot of accolades on this new helmet that they've designed. It's coming out in the 2016, 2017. Some NCAA teams and some NFL teams will be using this football helmet in the upcoming season. I hope UH gets it. My grandson plays for them, and I'd love for him to have something of this caliber on his noggin when he's out there pounding on the center line. The company's called 01. It's a 4-layer helmet. It has an outer shell and it has the inner shells to protect you. I didn't know until I started doing some research on this. Helmets were initially designed so that you wouldn't fracture your skull. There was no design in there to protect you from getting a concussion. So that was the design and the methodology behind the design. And with all this stuff that's going on with concussions and things like that, it becomes something that you just didn't know. I mean, I played years ago and I didn't have the leather helmet, but it wasn't that far afterwards when I was playing, and I can't even remember how many concussions I had. And that's maybe as a result of having the concussions. I don't know what that is, but anyway, I just can't remember. So that's something new, and they're getting a lot of accolades out there to the point where, as a University of Washington, are doing a lot of the research in this, and so it's resulted in the University of Washington get a lot of cash. They're getting some money coming in and so on. So again, when we talk about University of Hawaii and things that happen there, if we can start promoting some of the things that come out of University of Hawaii, they might be able to get some money coming back in there. I remember we created mice that glowed in the dark one year. So I don't know whatever came of it, but that was something that we spent a lot of time on. Other thing is, so when I start getting into this, you start looking at startup companies and things that are going on. I'm always looking around like, where's money? Is there things that can happen out there? And I started to look at NASA, because NASA does a lot of things and so on. And I found a few things that I thought you might find of interest. So when Congress created NASA in 1958, they knew that they were going to be spending a lot of our money at NASA, but they set it up in such a way that a lot of the research would go back into the private sector, or there'd be abilities to come back into the private sector. So there's been a number of things that over the years and over the decades that have been created. And here's some things you don't even think of, and there's this organization called SATOP, which is the Space Alliance Technology Outreach Program, where you can get free advice from the engineers or for whatever it is you want. Now this thing is called a Xeno, and it's a Xeno Pro, and this is a device that's used to take care of acne. And it has a high success rate. It's a ready available product now. You do not need a prescription for this. The guy that developed this developed it in his garage. And he was having problems with one little segment of this product. And he went and got in touch with NASA. They put him in contact with their partners, and he was able to get some assistance from them at no cost so that he could finish off this device. And one of the things I found was fascinating is that the internal electronics on this, there's a heating element in this. It requires it was costing him $80 to produce this particular heating element. They got it down to 10 cents. So he's now turned this idea that he started into his garage as a product that's readily available, used a lot for people, adult acne and those kinds of things. Great success write-ups I heard about it. So it's treats all kinds of things. 90% success rate, works within 12 to 24 hours. There's all kinds of different popping zits in space. That's one way of putting it. So anyway, so that's so that's one that came off. The last thing you would think of coming out of NASA is something that would help you with with your zits. Anyway, speaking of zits, so one of the things that they always talk about is, creating zits, and again, we're still talking about NASA, is fatty foods and the kinds of things that you eat. You think about, I don't think about these things, but the astronauts and so on, they've got to eat up there, and so there's been all kinds of things developed to create all kinds of food products for them, and you start thinking about what it is. They have to have foods that don't crumble. They have to have foods that are high energy. They have to have foods that can stay unrefrigerated for up to a year. They have to be tasty, all of those kinds of things. And as a result of that, working with private firms, they've created this it's called Nutrigrass, and it's a commercial product now. They use it in commercial foods to reduce fat content by 80%. Very healthy. They use it in NASA. They use it up in the space shuttle. What I thought was kind of fun is that they can't have foods that create crumbs. And if you think about it, right, you're floating around in space, and the last thing you want around is your cookie crumbs flying all over the place. So they had to deal with this. So this is another a part of this is a woman-owned small business. So a woman-owned small business who took advantage of what was coming out of NASA to create a food product that can be used. They make, and they do things like Alfredo, shrimps, all kinds of different really, kind of great foods that you wouldn't think of the difficulties it would be making them when you're in space. So pretty good, pretty cool project, pretty cool product. Now another one that came out of NASA is lubricants. Now if you think the shuttle, this thing weighs well, that platform is the size of a baseball diamond, and that they moved the space shuttle from the bay out to the launch pad, and it goes at 1 mile per hour, and that's 3 miles out to the launch pad. Think of the lubricants they had to use to move this tons of things. And over the years, they developed a number of things. This thing is 131 feet long, 114 feet wide. It's 20 feet high. It weighs literally hundreds of tons and hundreds of thousands of pounds. And so they came up with a whole number of lubricants. Now those lubricants have been moved into the private sector. XR1, it's a product that X1R. It's a product that I've seen. I've used it in my cars. But what I thought was interesting is that product is available as a result of what's happened in here. The technology has been moved up in the scale, if you will. And one of the things that they use it for, because it's environmentally friendly, if you're a fisherman, you can buy products at the fishing store that will allow you to lubricate your reels and keep them all protected, and it's environmentally friendly. You don't have to worry about it in the ocean and doing all those kinds of things. So a lot of stuff, that's kind of like what I've got happening on this segment. I got a few other things that we might want to cover, but I'm gone through 15 minutes. I want to get Randy Martin on here. I want to get Angus off the beach and see what he's got. He's got something pretty fancy happening. So let's take a break. We'll pay some bills. We'll go get Angus. I can see him down over there. Bring him up here. We'll get Randy Martin on to talk about his company, what he's doing here in Hawaii. See you in a minute.
Hi, I'm Donna Blanchard. I'm the host of Center Stage here on Think Tech Hawaii. Center Stage airs every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and of course you can check out our archives on YouTube or on Think Tech Hawaii anytime you like. Why should you do that? Because this is an arts show that I believe is making a difference in lives. We talk with artists of various ilk. We talk with painters and writers, playwrights, novelists, poets, sculptors, dancers, you name it, directors, actors, of course. And we don't only talk about what people do, but we talk about how they do it. And my favorite part of the conversation, we talk about why they do it. And it's really common on this show to hear people say, wow, I didn't think about it that way. And it's very common to hear people afterwards who have seen the show say the same thing. And I hear all the time that people are inspired by the conversations that we have. So why don't you join us and be inspired too? That's Center Stage on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock. We'll see you Center Stage.
Aloha, this is Keli'i Akina, president of the Grassroots Institute, and I want to thank you for watching Think Tech Hawaii. We are delighted to be partners with Think Tech because it gives us the opportunity to bring to you a show every week on Monday at 2 o'clock p.m. called Ehana Kako. Ehana Kako means let's work together, because we believe that Hawaii will be a better place when everybody works together. And in what way? Well, at the Grassroots Institute, we research 3 basic areas, and we invite guests to come on board from across the country, the state, and the nation to talk about a better economy, a better government, a better society. Now, aren't those things we all want? Indeed. If you'd like to have the latest research in terms of public policy, as well as ways in which we can build a better government, economy, and society, then tune in every Monday on Think Tech Hawaii at 2 o'clock p.m. for our fascinating guests on E Hanakako. Let's work together. I'm Keli'i Akina with the Grassroots Institute, and I'll see you then. Aloha.
Aloha. You can join the Hawaii Farmer Series every Thursday from 4 to 5 on Think Tech.
And I'm your co-host Matthew Johnson, here with Justine Espiritu.
And we are so thankful to have this show to use as a forum to get to know all the movers and shakers in agriculture in Hawaii and hear kind of their background and history, as well as
Their perspective on what they're doing and also the future for agriculture in Hawaii.
So join us every Thursday. You can tweet in your own comments and suggestions and be a part of the conversation at Think Tech High. And we hope to see you every single Thursday.
Aloha! How you doing there? It's me, Angus McTech, and welcome to Hibachi Talk. Anyway, I want to tell you what happened to me the other day there. You know, I'm always, the girlfriends, it's a little hard to hang on to them. So anyway, my girlfriend, well, now my ex-girlfriend, she buys a lot of shoes. So I went shopping and, I told her I bought her a new pair of shoes. She got all excited. And she said, well, how come you bought me a new pair of shoes? I said, well, I got you a new pair of shoes that kind of met your personality. So I bought her these shoes. And I don't know why she got all upset with me when I gave them to her. Anyway, this is when I bought her these brand new shoes. And I said, they kind of matched your personality. And she said, oh, the old crow left me. That's all I can say. That's it. I'm done with that girlfriend and I'm out looking around. So now that I'm looking for a new girlfriend, I have to find a new gift. So I found this cool new gadget. It's called the Ombra. O-M-B-R-A. This is no joke. This is the real McCoy. But this is a high-tech bra that will come out that will help ladies with their training. And it's really kind of a cool thing. And I thought, you know what? If I give this as a gift, no one's ever going to be, accusing me of not coming up with unique gifts. But anyway, it's a Canadian company, has a smart app, and it tracks everything that's going on and keeps you healthy. So anyway, I want you to remember this thing. It's a really cool thing. It's called the Ombra. Anyway, that's my gadget for the day. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn this over to our guest, and our guest is Randy Martin from Paradise Canyon Systems. And I'll go down and get Gordo and bring him back. Anyway, remember, let your wing gang free wherever you be. Aloha! How you doing there, Randy?
Aloha.
So welcome. Nice to have you here.
Thank you, Gordon.
All right. So Randy is with Paradise Canyon Systems. You've been with that company a long time, but we like to get a little bit background on our guests and so on, like where you went to, local style, right? Where you went to school. Now, maybe you didn't go to school in Hawaii, you went somewhere else, but anyway, so where you went to school, how you got into this business and so on. So just tell us a little bit about yourself. So where are you from? How'd you get here? What you been doing?
Well, originally from Canada, just like another Canuck like you.
How you doing, eh?
Yeah, I think we grew up very close. You were in Toronto and I was in St. Catharines.
Right.
Yeah, St. Catharines is a town about 12 miles from Niagara Falls. So anyway, went to high school there, went to school in the United States with swimming scholarships. I was a speed swimmer and I was graduating in Brock University in St. Catharines.
Okay. I forgot you were a swimmer.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. We used to hang out a lot more at the lounges.
Yeah, my claim to fame was that I was third in the 1964 Olympic trials. Canada only takes the top two, so that's how.
Wow, nice,
good I
nice.
was, yeah.
And how cold was the water when you were
Old
training?
news, I don't have that stud muffin body anymore.
Yeah. Tell me what happens when you get up there in age.
Anyway, well, in swimming in Canada, as soon as it gets nice, you do the outdoor swimming, right? And they open up the outdoor pools right after Canadian Memorial Day type of thing.
Right.
The water's 58 degrees.
I know, they don't,
Like
it's not
hit
heated.
that water, man, you're gone.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it warms up.
I forgot, you forget about these things. I remember getting up because I'm not as good a swimmer as you, but I used to get up every Monday morning first thing in high school was swim class at 6 o'clock Monday mornings, and that damn water was cold. I tell you, it was a terrible way to start your school week. So
I swim 7,000 yards a day for 6 days a week when I was in university.
So it's not fun anymore, right?
No, I always swim enough to save my life now.
So you St. Kitts. By the way, Toronto Maple Leafs are doing terrible this year.
I don't even mention their name anymore.
Oh, okay.
You're either a Canadian fan or you just like don't even talk about Canada.
Can't anymore. It's not. So anyway, then you went to school in the U.S.?
I did. I was on scholarship, went to last place was Florida State, and then family tragedy, ended up having to go back home to Canada, and I finished up school there, so.
You finished up in Canada. Now, how'd you get to Hawaii?
Oh my God. Got in the computer. I got hired off campus by Bell Canada.
Okay.
So I did 2-year stint.
That's the phone company.
Yeah, in Canada. So ended up in engineering, left, got a sales job with a computer company, and did very well and fast tracked to success. Opened data centers for them across Canada. Ended up, blah blah blah, in Vancouver.
Okay.
And along the way, I met an American lady, got married, and then she wanted to move back to the United States, moved to Los Angeles. So I was working for a New York Stock Exchange company, headquartered company there, and
Los Angeles is just such a wonderful place compared to St. Catharines.
I had a great time there. Like everybody complains about LA, but it's like pretend there's no smog.
Yeah, just pretend there's. Hey, my grandson lives there. He loves it.
Yeah, so I 5 years rose to fast track to success. Last job was vice president in charge of all the data centers in Southern California.
So what year was this that they were building data centers? Because this was relatively a new phenomenon at that point in time, right? This was pre-cloud.
In Canada, this was 75, 76,
So we're
77.
dating you now, but that's okay. So that's all right. You look pretty good for someone that's that old. Anyway, so 75, 76.
I think I'll stay a while now.
Yeah. So mainframes?
No, we sold products that actually work with mini computers.
Okay.
In those days, remember mini
I
computers?
remember mini computers, yeah.
Yeah. So we did that. Then when I moved down to Los Angeles, I got a job working for a service bureau type of company.
Okay.
Today we call it cloud.
Cloud,
Yeah,
but we just changed the names.
I know, it just circles right around.
It's the same thing, I know.
Distributed processing, mainframe processing, just keeps
right.
going around.
It's going around. It's really-
So, yeah, and I did that for 5 years and then left and I started my own business and then for a couple of years and I sold it to a company in Atlanta and did consulting for a while and then, anyway, I started another business in 78, 79 and we were in the office product business and we were opening up in Chicago, Oakland,
So what do you mean by office product? What's an office product?
I started remember recycled toner cartridges?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Before Costco refills them now.
Yes. I was a really leading edge guy. I mean,
Wow.
I had 5 plants throughout Western United States where we were actually taking the cartridges and refilling them and reselling them. So anyway, a salesman working for me in San Francisco, and he got an opportunity with the GSA stores.
Okay.
GSA wanted us to come to Hawaii and talk to the GSA stores at Hickam and at Pearl Harbor.
So a GSA store is the government
Service administration.
Yeah, service administration. So you're selling product in the government space.
Yeah, well, this 25 years ago, if you wanted to buy something in the base, you went to a GSA store.
Okay.
I don't know what it's called anymore. On Pearl Harbor Navy, it's called Exchange.
Yeah, the exchange, right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Air Force so anyway, we got invited to open up a recycling plant on Pearl Harbor. This was long before 9/11, right? So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, true. I used to teach on Pearl Harbor. We'd get in easy.
yeah, so those days, you went through the yellow pages and said, okay, so I don't see any businesses that have my name, and I went down and registered the company. And
Yellow Pages, for those of you that are too young, this used to be a book, and it was yellow, and all the businesses were in there, and your phone number was in there.
Yeah, and there was no internet. If you wanted to know if you had a conflicting business name, you went to the yellow pages.
Pages
and
to
they're
see if there was-
there's no name. We'll go straight down to Department of Consumer, DCCA.
DCCA, right. Can't go online now and
give
see
them your
if it's-
$25 and get your attorney to register the company. So,
Yeah.
so I was doing business in Hawaii. So then bought a couple of businesses, and so next thing you know, I'm legitimately doing business here and some office product stuff. And I acquired a company, had 3 Canon USA dealerships, and
Okay.
and then I met Donna, and the rest is history.
Rest is history, and you're here. So now, Paradise Canyon Systems. Is that right? I get it right? Paradise Canyon?
Correct.
So you're the president of that company.
Correct.
You started it here, or how did that work?
Yeah, so the office product business was dying quickly.
Okay, just like the managed services business is dying quickly now.
So we decided we were going to get into networking products.
Okay.
And we picked up a fax server product line.
Remember fax servers?
And fax servers needed to sit on NT, Windows NT,
NT,
server,
yep.
right? So I was like, okay, so let's go look at, I looked in the yellow pages again, right? Like 1,000 Novell resellers.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
So I was
yes.
like, I don't like to be one of 10,000 of anything, right?
Yeah.
So, the Microsoft resellers was itty bitty tiny, so I said, I'm going to become a Microsoft reseller. So we did that. We started picking up more and more products that would sit on Windows NT. And as you
Okay.
know, Windows NT kind of revolutionized networking as we know
Right.
it today. So we just, and then in 1996, we got into reselling LAN-based client-server content management systems.
Okay.
And we did a lot of that. And in 1999, one of the companies that we sold products for, sorry, I'm losing my voice.
Losing
here,
your voice.
had what was called a email archiving server.
Okay.
It's like, wow, this is kind of crazy. So because we sold NT back office servers and we sold and installed Exchange servers, we thought this would be a natural fit. So anyway, we became certified. The product was known as Email Extender.
Okay.
It was owned by OTG Software.
You tried to sell that to me once?
I did. You didn't buy into it, though.
I didn't buy into it, though. And part of it is because
Tried to sell you my fax server, too. You didn't buy into that
either. I know. And you still got you to come on the show. Oh,
Yeah, you're a lucky man.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'll buy you lunch afterwards. At
There we
least
go.
you'll get something out of it.
Yeah.
But interesting though that one of the things that you've talked about is that this email extender and email archiving. We don't save email a lot here in our government side of this space, do we?
Yeah,
That's
that's pretty much why we don't do any business here, is because the state legislature has very lax rules on company requirements and length of time to retain stuff. So just to back up a bit, so
Yeah.
we got into the email business, and then gradually we started doing as much email as we were doing content management, and then back in 2008, the economy went just kabooey, right?
Right. You bet.
And
you bet.
yeah, so I mean, I lost almost $1 million worth of content management business, just went away.
Yeah.
So we were stuck there with the email. So we put all of our time and effort into the email archiving. And lo and behold, along comes Bernie Madoff.
Oh yes.
Scares the
How
crap
remember
out of
Bernie
it.
Madoff? How much money did
Scared
he?
every company's like, well, everybody wants to save their email. So anyway, so we went from being 90% content management to being 50-50 to today, if I was to define Paradise Canyon, we are a company that consults, sells to medium, I would say anything smaller than, we usually $3 billion in sales or less, companies that we consult them on best practices for email archiving and legal discovery for their attorneys.
Wow. Wow.
So, yeah, so we have over 100 customers that we service directly. We are one of the top 3 people in the United States for the movement, the migration of moving Archive A to Archive B. So in other words, if you were in HP Archive and you wanted to go to Veritas Archive, we do
You
a
can
lot
help
of that.
go there. So,
Yes.
okay, hold that. This is a poignant pause. We'll get you some water too.
Yeah.
And we're going to go pay some bills, and we'll come back with what's the upside. That's another segment we have, and then we'll continue on with Randy Martin, president of Paradise Canyon Systems, quite the entrepreneur, I might add. And we'll be back in just a minute.
Hi, I'm Ethan Allen, host of Likeable Science on Think Tech Hawaii. Come join us every Friday at 2 p.m. when I interview interesting scientists about what they do, why they do it, and why we should all care about it. It's a lot of fun to see. We hear, and you can learn interesting stuff. You'll hear all kinds of fascinating science, and we know you'll have a great time. Hope to see you then. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name's Hillary Weinberg. I'm the host of The Whole Gamut on Think Tech Hawaii. See us live every Tuesday at 1 p.m. or on our YouTube channel to hear us talk about world affairs from Hawaii and beyond. See you then.
Hi, I'm Jay Fidel. That's Ted Ralston. Ted is the host of Where the Road Leads. It shows every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. It's about technology. It's about how people collaborating and solve problems with modern technology. It's where the road leads. We all know that. We should all be listening. Join us there, 4 to 5 p.m. every Friday. Now, what about that do you agree with?
All of it.
I knew he'd say that. Aloha. Say aloha.
Aloha.
Good.
Aloha, how you doing? Welcome to Hibachi Talk. Gordo the Tech Czar here. I'm here with my guest Randy Martin, president of Paradise Canyon Systems. We're talking about his efforts in the tech industry and how you've actually grown up in this thing and kept your hair, I might add. You're one of the few people we've had on this show that have been in the industry a long time that still got their hair. So anyway, but before we do that, I think want to do a thing I like to do. It's called "What's the Upside?" What's the upside of doing this? But part of this is like also I was doing it at the same time I was looking at tax season's coming upon us, and we're talking about doing business in Hawaii, right? And a lot of people talk about doing business in Hawaii and how difficult it is, and you and I can both say that it's not exactly the easiest, but it's not as bad as we think. I always thought Hawaii was the worst place to do business because it used to get ranked in there. Now we're 33rd. So we've moved up. We're 33rd worst. We're no longer 50th worst. So we've moved up. We moved up the thing. Moved up the scale. But anyway.
It ain't that bad because I haven't moved the company yet.
Yes. And I just started my new one. So, who knows? We can just help this thing move along. You can say, we've had all these great startups. Haven't made any money, but I've started another company. Anyway, so what's the upside? I got this picture. I saw this the other day there when I was walking up Alakea Street. And so I'm going to give you a hint. So this is a building that is, well, that doesn't look quite right. Anyway, this is the building there we go. This is a building that's near and dear to our heart. Well, I don't know if it's near and dear to our heart, but this building is right on Alakea Street, and it's the courthouse.
You ever had to peer there? It's not near and dear.
That's why it's not near and dear. That's why that's not near and dear. But it's the courthouse. No, this is the courthouse. The courthouse has been tagged. Now, I walked by there yesterday. It's still there. So why do I not feel safe? Why am I not feeling safe? This took some work. This wasn't someone who had to stand there and crank this puppy out in a minute and a half. Yeah. This took a while for someone to do this. And whoever it is, it's Eric LK or whatever that. Anyway, so this is, again, what's the upside, man? Can we please get it taken down? It'd be nice if you guys would just stay on top of it and keep our place nice and neat and clean. Anyway.
It'd be good to know whether it's there tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see if, well, you know what?
Well, tomorrow's Saturday.
Tomorrow's Saturday, that would be overtime. And this is not the youth correctional facility overtime scam we were reading about in the paper yesterday. Yeah. 23.
In a rabbit hole we're not going down.
23 guests, I call them guests, 23 guests and $1 million and change in overtime.
I read that story.
Yeah, when they used to have 90 guests. So we'll not even go down that one. There's a thing called the high 3 in government. I'm sure you've heard of it.
No, you worked there.
I worked there, yeah. So that you get paid, your pension is based on your last highest 3 years of work.
I've heard that.
And that includes overtime. So if you crank out the overtime during that period of time, that's your pension, which could be higher than your base when you were working there. So you see a lot of that going on.
HCEA doesn't want you to say that.
I just said it, and so what? And I'll get my car keyed again. Oh, it never happens. Anyway, oh boy, I'm toast. Anyway, so coming back, it's Randy Martin. So you Paradise Canyon Systems. You started this email archiving
division.
Okay, division within your enterprise. So where does it go from there? How does it go from? Why are you not doing it here? And why is your business all on the continental U.S. or for the most part there?
Yeah, if you understand, there are a lot of legislation rules. You've heard of Sarbanes-Oxley and the Patriot Act and all this kind of stuff. The state of Hawaii has never embraced any of them.
Okay.
Federally, there's the federal rule of e-discovery that came out, but it only counts if you're actually going to end up in federal court. Now, since that time in 1996, the last I looked, it was I think it was 27 states that state legislature had embraced and paralleled legislation for the federal rule of e-discovery.
Okay.
And basically what it says that it's not against the law not to keep email, but if you don't keep your email in a reasonable amount of time. Now understand that 70% roughly is the industry standard, 70% of all legal matters or lawsuits start with email.
Right, ask Hillary Clinton.
Yes. And a bunch
we
of
won't
other
go
people.
there either.
Yeah, anyway. So what you end up with is rules and regulations on the U.S. mainland with companies, because more companies do multiple state type of work.
Right.
So they're liable to end up in federal court a lot more than they would end up in state court. Okay. So from a corporation standpoint, larger corporations have serious email archiving plans in place, okay, retention policies.
So helping me to understand this is that, there's not a lot of large corporations based in Hawaii doing,
Not many are out-of-state workers.
They're-
Hawaiian Airlines would be an out-of-state worker.
okay, Hawaiian Airlines would be one.
Electric company doesn't.
Doesn't, right, obviously.
Kamehameha Schools doesn't. Okay,
right.
so depending upon the type of business that you have and whether you cross state lines, basically whether you're
Okay,
gonna.
got it.
But the state of Hawaii doesn't have any policy in place paralleling the federal rule of e-discovery.
Okay.
So if you want to get rid of your email within, what is a ridiculous amount of time, it's not illegal here. So on the mainland, you can't get rid of email. If you go to court, even in state court in the mainland, in most states, then you've only got 2 years worth of email. The judge is going to look at you like you have something to hide.
Okay,
If you go to federal court
okay,
and you don't have an archiving backup policy in place,
okay,
the judge has the right to ask you if you do. The
right,
opposing attorney has the right to get anything he asks for. So let's say there's a legal matter that involves Betty Jones. And Betty Jones, the opposing attorney says, I want all the emails for the past 5 years for Betty Jones. So by the federal rule of e-discovery, the company that has that information is legally bound to give that information to the attorney.
so that must cost a heck of a lot of money to go through that process of e-discovery.
Well, you're in the IT business.
I know.
If you don't have an archiving, if you don't have a silo that's archived everything from the journaling aspect, and you
Right.
got to go into your Exchange server,
Right.
in 5 years, go into your backup tapes,
Right.
your IT department's going to be there
A
forever.
long time.
It costs a lot of money.
Costs a lot of money.
And a lot of companies that don't have these secondary, third-party archiving tools actually spend a lot of money with law firms, having them go into their archives.
Right,
and,
right.
you know.
I've been involved in those situations
Yes.
where we had to go back and pull stuff off tapes.
So we sell software that basically will archive email. We can take from a journaling standpoint. Journaling, as you know, is anything hitting the email server instantaneously
Right.
coming and going. A copy gets into, and we have a built-in OCR engine that opens it up, and
Optical character recognition.
yeah. So all the metadata, both of the text of the email and whatever the attachments, we open up attachments, we OCR that, and we store all that metadata and tag it to the original email.
So now how is cloud impacting, cloud email, like Office 365, Gmail, all of those?
Seriously, it's impacting seriously. So just to finish the on-premise stuff.
Okay.
So if you have an on-premise, you have a silo. So we can actually put, through that same server, we can put email, SharePoint, and ShareFile server information in there. So through the software, we can set rules and policies on retention by department, by individual, by job type. So that's where the consulting that we
Okay.
do is we
Wow,
have
that's
the
cool.
experience now in saying, okay, so the rule of thumb is that C Corp people just keep the email for 7 years. Senior management, like middle to senior management, 5 years. There's a 3 to 5 year rule, and then clerical staff with a statute of limitations on clerical staff is 2 years anyway. So you can set those. So from a storage standpoint, I mean, everything ends up being storage, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
So we can
Did
help.
you try to sell me storage too?
No.
Okay, just checking.
No.
Because I didn't buy that either.
I only sell that in the
I'm
mainland.
surprised you're still my friend.
So what you end up with is you dramatically reduce all this email into a manageable, and then there's discovery tools, and we've actually, a lot of our customers, we have some customers that are, 10, 12, 15,000 mailboxes that we service them directly. We consult and work with their attorneys, and we've helped one big medical center in Northern California, through our software, they were able to nip a matter that was sent to them in the butt within less than 24 hours and save themselves a $5 million lawsuit.
Wow. So those are the
It
kinds
would
of
have
things.
gone, it was a racial discrimination suit, and it would end up going to the federal court. It's just
Oh, and that
terrible
would have
stuff.
dragged on for
Yes.
years and years and years. And so you've got this happening, the cloud stuff that's happening. You got something else? Go ahead, fire away. I keep butting in on you.
No, but you asked me the impact
Yeah,
of, okay,
yeah.
so Office 365 has made a major impact in everybody's life. I mean, one of the reasons that, i.e. Dell and EMC, is that, if everything's going to the cloud, there's no on-premise storage, right?
Right.
So, but it'll be back, you know, it's like
Yeah.
that big cycle
Oh,
thing.
I know, we'll call it we'll call it something else.
But it is affecting our business, the fact that people are moving their Exchange servers,
Right.
okay, moving it to Office 365 or Google. Now, the good news is if they go to Office 365, our software has a mechanism where we can actually activate journaling in Office 365 and bring it back to the on-premise archive.
Right.
So that's good news for us. But that, you know, that Microsoft is kind of misleading people thinking that, you know, they have their own e-discovery tool that's going to work for them. They really don't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the HIPAA. They sort of give an impression that they're HIPAA compliant, but if you dig deep, you know, that they really aren't.
Yes.
So it's those kinds of things. Same with Google.
Interestingly, we picked up a partnership in July with a company called Spanning. Spanning is one of a half a dozen companies that back up the cloud. So they back up Salesforce, they back up Office 365, and they back up Google Apps.
Okay.
So we're selling that product now. And one of the reasons is that, number one, we're losing business to those people. And number two, the SLA for both Google.
Service level agreements.
Yeah, for both Microsoft and for Google is that, oh, you lost your email? Good luck with that.
Yeah, yeah.
No, if they lose it on you, like they're responsible for bringing it back. But
Right.
you know, you get an employee that, you know, deletes and then it's gone, right?
Right.
They're not going to go get it for you.
No, they're not.
So we're selling this product. It's a cloud-based product. So you can't beat them joining them, right?
Yeah, you gotta tell me about it. So you're constantly reinventing yourself.
Yeah.
And to
Yeah,
stay,
IT changes monthly.
it's like constant. So, but you know, like I was coming back to our original point here is that, but the majority of your clients are mainland-based clients.
We have 5 customers in Hawaii. The other 120-something are on the U.S.
On the
mainland. We
US
have customers from Seattle to New York to Florida to Los Angeles and everywhere in between.
And everywhere in between. So my point being, again, I keep emphasizing over and over again, you can be a small, local-based Hawaii company, and you're not small by any means. You're small maybe in footprint, but in what you deliver and services around the country, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Well, we have an expertise in a very small footprint,
Right?
but our engineers are experts at what we do.
Right.
And 90% of all of the business that we get comes from word of mouth.
Wow, wow.
People find us.
So we're running, time is winding down.
Already?
Yeah, you know, isn't it amazing? So your website is?
I want to stay longer.
We can do that. We'll have you come back. Repeat show. So your website is?
ParadiseCYN.com. So
Okay.
www.paradisecyn, all one word, .com.
I know, a nice website. I went there to get a
Yeah.
little bit of research on you. And so.
Very self-explanatory, everything that we do.
It's right there. It's very cool.
Yes.
It is very, very cool. So anyway, I also didn't know if you realized that our guests get a autographed solo cup. We spare no expense on this program, as you can no doubt tell.
This is
And
signed by the little guy?
It's signed by Angus right here. He's signed Angus and Gordo, and I signed it for Andrew, but he says Andrew was not here, so that's there. This is number 49 in the series, so you got number 49, 50th show next week. That's going to be pretty amazing. But anyway, that's for you to
That's
cherish
cool.
for the rest of your life.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Randy, it's been a pleasure having you here. It's actually been a pleasure having me do this job by myself. I don't want to do it again. Thank goodness I had a good guest. We'll be seeing you next week. Remember to follow us on Hibachi Talk. Remember to follow us on YouTube. Remember to behave yourselves. And remember, as we always say, now you don't know, but this is it. How you doing?